Welcome to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm Amanda Lamb. In today's deep dive conversation with Five on Your Side's Keely Arthur, we're going to talk about a case of mistaken identity, a substance that is poisonous if ingested that was mistaken for candy. Keely, welcome to the program.
Hi, great to be here.
So this is a really crazy story and something that parents really need to be aware of. First of all, tell me how this came to your attention.
So the mom actually wrote to WRAL looking, I think, to get the word out on this. It was an email we got in the first few days of 2023 because it all happened on New Year's Eve. And sometimes when people write into us, they want to put the word out, but they don't want to go talk on camera. This mom and her son came to us and we did a full interview with them.
And so set the scene for me. What happened on New Year's Eve?
Okay, so we kind of have to go back to when this was all purchased. So what happened was these kids on New Year's Eve were playing games and the prizes were candy. An aunt had brought the candy to the party. She had brought a bag of packets of Pop Rocks. Now, earlier in the year, she purchased these Pop Rocks. We don't know at which store, but they were all Pop Rocks from what she saw. So what happened is this young boy, Connor Taylor, at the party, won a prize, went to grab a pack, and he takes some of it, and it doesn't pop. And that anyone who's had Pop Rocks knows that's the whole point of the candy, right, is it pops in your mouth.
Yeah, let's just first, anybody that may not know what Pop Rocks are, and I do know because they were around when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s, they're little pellets, they're colorful little pellets that you put in your mouth, and they have this kind of, like you said, popping sensation.
Yeah, and they're sugary, and they're just like a fun kids candy. The packaging normally is black and shiny. It's in kind of a rectangular shape, and the lettering is normally in a bright color, kind of indicating whatever flavor it is. So the child, Connor, grabbed one of the packets. He started to eat it. He realized, well, this isn't working. So he did what any 9-year-old would do. I think what anyone would do in this situation, maybe. You just took some more because he thought, okay,
it wasn't working.
It's not working. And then it started to burn. And he called for his mom, and his mom grabbed the package, and she had to look closely because we can talk about this. The packaging is not super clear on what it is, but she flipped the package around, and she realized this was not Pop Rocks. This is not candy. This is a chemical called Lucky's Mystical Dragon Flames that's designed to change the color of fire. So you're supposed to throw the packet into fire, and it will change the flames and make them like green or purple.
So definitely not something that should be ingested. Is there anything on the package that indicates that?
There is, but it's on really the back. So on the front, I know it's hard with a podcast, but there's a huge dragon. He is blowing flames, and in the flames, it says the name of the product, Lucky's Mystical Dragon Flames. On the top left-hand corner, there is some information about how much the size of the package is. And then you see in this very small lettering, read carefully, look at the back panel. Parental supervision is advised. Do not open. Do not eat. Once you turn it around, there's more warnings. It says harmful if swallowed, caution, irritant, and it tells you what to do if you do swallow it, which is call a doctor. But none of that's on the front, and that was the mom's chief complaint here. She felt like it could have been avoidable. I interviewed her son. He's very intelligent.
And to be clear, we have this sitting right here in between us as we're talking, and I'm looking at it. And if I were to look at just casually and not really read that tiny print, I could easily see how this would be mistaken.
Yeah,
for
sometimes
candy.
People call Five on Your Side and they're upset about something, but if you look at it logically, you think, you know what? That might have been their own fault, their own doing.
Their own interpretation.
We took this story because if you look at the packaging, there probably should be more warnings and labels. This mistake could probably happen to anybody, including adults.
And this was in a bin, my understanding from your reporting, with candy. In other words, these were mixed in a bin in the store.
The aunt thinks that it was just when she went to the candy aisle to buy the Pop Rocks, one of these packets just happened to be in with the Pop Rocks. And it was obviously, it was wrong. We don't know how this happened. We don't know if a store clerk accidentally threw it in. Someone was playing a joke. We don't know. But the adults didn't see it. The store didn't notice it. Nobody did.
Tell me about what happened to Connor as a result. I mean, what kind of chemicals did he ingest and what happened?
So the main issue was they called the poison control called a toxicologist. They called the mom right back and said, "We've already secured a spot for you at WakeMed Children's. Get your son there right away." There is copper within this packet, and that can be poisonous.
Very scary for a parent to hear that.
Yeah, and if you ingest copper, now I'm learning about copper poisoning. I mean, your child can lose their facial control and muscles and start to turn blue. That didn't happen to him, but when they started taking his blood levels did show high levels of toxicity in his liver specifically. It started to go down, but he had to stay at the hospital overnight and then continue to get blood tests. They don't think there's any permanent damage, but he was poisoned by this.
Yeah, thankfully he was okay. Well, we will be right back after the break with more from Keely Arthur about what parents say should be done to prevent this from happening to someone else. Welcome back to the WRAL Daily Download. We're talking to Five on Your Side's Keely Arthur about a substance that is poisonous if ingested, and it was mistaken for candy. So Laura Taylor, the mother of 9-year-old Connor, is obviously very upset about the situation. He was taken to WakeMed. He's okay, but she still wants to make sure this doesn't happen.
Yeah, so I interviewed the whole family, and she just wants to make sure this doesn't happen. Again, that's her chief objective. She doesn't think anyone is at fault necessarily, except for the company that's designing the packaging and that's putting, this together. So she wants there to be clearer labels, clearer warnings. If you go on Amazon to buy this package, you can click through the images of it. And on that package, it says at the bottom, harmful if swallowed. On the front, again, there's always warnings on the back here in every situation that we've seen with this Lucky's Mystical Dragon's Flames. But the ones we bought from Amazon and the ones that Connor had didn't have that label saying harmful if swallowed. And he's not the only one that has made this mistake. In 2018, Poison Control put out a warning after children in that state fell ill to eating this very same thing. And she said, and I quote, "I just don't want a kid to die before this is fixed."
Right. And as you said before, when it wasn't working, when they weren't popping like Pop Rocks, he didn't spit it out. He added more because he thought, well, let's see if we can make this work.
And I think he did look at the packaging again, and he thought, well, it's just spicy Pop Rocks because he looked at the flames coming out of the dragon. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know you reached out to the company. Anything from the company so far?
No. And I'm trying to give them time to respond and, always pushing for answers, but trying to be as nice as possible. We want to hear what's going on. Maybe they're trying to fix things, but we haven't heard anything from them. And if this issue happened in 2018 and it's 2023 now, it doesn't sound like any changes or real significant changes have been made here yet.
Exactly. And obviously, if they respond, we would include that in the notes to this show.
Yeah.
You also reached out to the Consumer Product Safety Commission. What did you find out from them?
Well, so I found out that there are these standards that you have to have. Federal Hazard Substances Act. Essentially, you have to label any harmful package that could be in the home with these warnings. So it needs to say things like caution or danger or warning, and it has to be clear and contrasting lettering, and it has to also say what could happen if you use the product wrong. So like harmful if swallowed, causes burning, things like that. All of this needs to be there. What I'm trying to find out from them right now is if it needs to be on the front of the packaging. Again, it's on the back, but you would have to flip it over and read really closely because it's small.
And you've brought in this package that has multiple packets in it. Is this from Amazon?
Yeah.
So on the back, again, there's a warning in the bigger packaging that holds these. But again, when you look at the front, it's just really hard to see.
The point of good packaging, I think, and we've seen this with a lot of different things, it needs to be clear and show what the use is and take the guesswork out of it, right? And so this doesn't. It looks really fun in the front, and yeah.
How's Connor doing? You said you talked to him. He's 9 years old, but he was able to do an interview.
He was great, and I think like his mom just feels like speaking. Sometimes being on TV is uncomfortable or doing an interview, but I think when people come at it of the standpoint of I'm going to help somebody by sharing my story, then they feel emboldened to do it, and that was very much how Connor was. He's going to be okay, we think.
That's great. And it's pretty brave of a 9-year-old to talk about something like this.
A lot of times, Amanda, when you interview a kid, sometimes they don't. You'll be like, you'll talk to them for a few seconds, and then you'll go talk to the parent. But I talked to him for the first 10 minutes of the interview. And yeah, he was very smart. I think some people, I just want, people to think, well, my child would never do this. This child is on the ball. This packaging could have fooled a lot of people.
Absolutely. And he's doing well, which is good to note.
Yes.
Okay. Keely, thank you so much for your reporting and your insight. And I know you're going to continue to follow this situation. And thank you for listening to the WRAL Daily Download and making us part of your morning routine. Another great way to get WRAL news is the Morning Briefing newsletter. It's a daily email that's waiting in your inbox every morning with Triangle news, events, and headlines to get you ready for the day. Sign up at WRAL.com/newsletter.